Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Joseph Alai, and today I'd like to talk about success stories with manifesting specific people the Neville Goddard way, and then some failures and how each of them unfolded, how they did it, and what actually works behind the scenes. So definitely the hottest topic that there is out there right now, and there's also a lot of confusion out there right now. So part of my job in coaching and helping others and teaching them these techniques on how to manifest the life of your dreams, I receive a lot of emails and I help a lot of people when it comes to all sorts of different types of desires and manifestations, including money, happiness, health, specific people, all sorts of things. But recently, I've been getting a lot of emails concerning success stories and also failures. And so I wanted to talk about kind of my thoughts on that and how they're doing it and how they're not doing it. So the first one I want to talk about is a success. And it's from a lovely woman who lives in Chicago. And she sent me a message and she told me that after watching the How to Manifest a Specific Person the Neville Goddard way, it gave her a lot of hope, and she started putting it to the test. And so what she was doing before was she was apart from her specific person for 8 months, and there was no movement, and she was feeling hopeless about the situation. She was trying different things but could not maintain any contact, nothing like that. And so after she stumbled upon my video where I talk about how Neville explains to live in the end, right? So where I basically teach how to apply that to a specific person. So I guess just to preface this, in order to manifest the thing that we want, what we want to do is live in the end. So that means to construct a scene which would imply that the desire has already been fulfilled. And then bring that into our imagination and populate that with all the vividness and reality that we possibly can, and enter into the scene as if we are the character and act as if we are that character. So if we do that successfully and act as if we're in the scene, then, and if we bring that to life, then if we fall asleep in that state, or if we drop it after bringing it all the tones of reality, then it is done. The seed has been planted and it will be fulfilled. So you can either do that once or you can persist in the imaginal act for days or weeks, whatever it is that feels comfortable for you. But genuinely, if you catch the mood sufficiently in one time, then that's enough to plant the seed. But it doesn't harm if you persistently do it, as long as you can drop it and you're not having contradictory thoughts. So, as I said, this first lady in Chicago, what she ended up doing after being apart from her specific person for 8 months was she decided that she was going to construct a scene where she was married to him. And that meant that she was sleeping next to him with the wedding ring on, right? Which is what I've said in my video. And so she went straight to the end. She didn't go to the middle. She remained asleep in that state, so she was with him in the bed, falling asleep with the ring on, and she did that for 3 weeks. And then during the day, she was acting as if she was already married to him, right? And now there was no contact, nothing like that between these two. So after doing this for 3 weeks, the final night she went to sleep in the state, and she woke up and she had received a flurry of text messages from him about how he apologized for how everything went down, and then they ended up getting back together, and they're still back together ever since. The second story that I want to tell you about is another woman who, after applying Neville Goddard's methods, she basically was imagining that it was 3 years down the road, past the point of them being married, right? And so she did this for a while. And just as the first one, this person reached out to her and they got back together and they've been together ever since. And then the next one I want to talk about is some of the failures. So one of the things that we're told not to do is to imagine the middle, which is like a text message or an apology or some type of manipulation, right? And I want to be clear here. If we imagine the end, that is planting a seed. That's planting a seed, okay? Everyone is thus pushed out. So we're planting a seed in our own mind as if the desire has been fulfilled, and then a bridge of incidents will unfold and lead us to the end. So we are not to plant a seed and then to try to go in to plant a different seed. Because generally what happens is either the seed is manifested of the middle, which is a text message, or that'll come to pass, or anything that is trying to control and maneuver the outcome, but it's in the middle. Generally what will happen is either that will manifest and then fade out and it has no indication of the end, or there is adverse effects. So luckily I have an audience now of about total, including YouTube and other mediums, my email list and Facebook, about 17,000 people that I communicate with. So I basically try to get as much detail as possible as what worked and what didn't work. And so this one person I want to talk about in specific, she was imagining, and she's one of my clients. So before we had talked, she was imagining to receive a text message, right? Now, she had not been communicating with this person at all. She was imagining the end, but she was feeling a little bit desperate, which is natural, and she decided to imagine a text message. So what happened is out of the blue, he blocked her, right? He blocked her. Now, I want to tell you something, too. All things are possible. So no matter what happens in the middle, you can always go in and imagine the end, and that seed can be planted again, and then it can unfold, right, perfectly and achieve you to the end. Because there's nothing that can stop you from receiving the end. But we want to make sure that we're doing this the proper way. And through these test cases, the successes that I've had through my clients or things not my clients, the common bond and the common success in the people that I've seen grow the most and the people I've seen achieve the most are people who live in the end. Okay, so the other one I want to talk about is another one of my clients who is doing very well living in the end, but then decided to, send love or something. And I want to be very clear here. What I mean when meddling with the middle or messing with the middle is while you are taking an action, right, meaning to get a text message or to have them ask you out on a date or to have them send you an apology, in the back of your mind or your intention is that you guys are going to get back together, right? So there's a difference between if you just imagine getting an apology and in the back of your mind wanting to get back together, or just simply manifesting an apology, right? This is a different, something completely different, because the subconscious does not like coercion, right? It does not like manipulation. So if you're manipulating the means on how to get to your end, that's what you're not supposed to do, because it says in the Bible, and I've seen this to be true not only in myself, but in my clients and all the people that I interact with now that I'm able to get this information, is that God's ways are greater than our ways. So we plant a seed, but we don't know when and how these things are going to unfold. We have no idea, and we can't know. And so it comes down to being patient, but persisting in imagining properly to ensure that you've planted the seed properly. And the way to do this generally is to test this persistently. But anyway, the woman sent love, and again, she hadn't talked to this person in months, probably 3 months, and not a word. And suddenly she sends love, but in the back of her mind thinking, I want to get back together, sending love, manipulating the middle, and he blocked her. Done. So the reason I say all this is not to, it's sheerly so that you can objectively see how the subconscious works. It works through persuasion, not coercion, through directly imagining the end and only the end, and then being patient and dropping it and watching the manifestation unfold. And like I said before, all things are possible because they all exist now. They all exist now in a greater dimensional self from the what I call God inside our imagination, or you might say the universe. Everything exists now. And by imagining it, we simply select that state, and then by feeling the feeling of the wish fulfilled, that's when it manifests. That's when it comes into our awareness in the exact likeness of the way that we've impressed it upon the subconscious mind. So all things are possible. They're just waiting for you, right? There's a version of you and the specific person together now, right? As it says in the Bible, in my Father's house there are many mansions. If it weren't true, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. When I go to prepare a place for you, I will come back and receive you unto me, that where I go, there you will be also. Which basically means the mansion is a dimension that exists now with you and whatever it is that you want. So there's no work to be done here. The only work to be done is simply imagining that end. And whatever needs to happen for this bridge of incidents whatever needs to happen for that manifestation to come to pass will happen. And that is called the bridge of incidents. We don't know what's going to happen. If 1,000 people and 1,000 events are moved and transpire in order for your manifestation to come to pass, that will happen. But there's no indication of how and when this will happen, because each seed that we plant has its own gestation period, its own time until birth. We don't know what it is. Each one has a different one. So we can only imagine the end, plant the seed, drop it, and then continue in our journey, and then watch these things unfold. So anyway, I hope these were really helpful for you. Remember, anything is possible, so no matter what you've been doing, you can definitely get what you want. So just imagine the end, and that's it. So thank you. Scroll down, hit the subscribe button, the bell icon. Go to the website sovereignmind.com and stay tuned for more. Thank you.